When the fight was first announced, most fans believed Gervonta Tank Davis would walk through Lamont Roach. Tank's power, explosiveness, and ability to close the show had built a reputation as one of the most dangerous finishers in boxing. Roach, while respected as a skilled technician, wasn't considered to be on Tank's level in terms of raw firepower. But what unfolded inside the ring surprised many, and it wasn't because Roach suddenly became a puncher. It was because he used his brain, his timing, and his ring IQ to expose gaps in Tank Davis's game that so few have been able to highlight. From the opening bell, Roach came in with a plan. Instead of giving Tank the stationary target he loves to load up on, Roach used lateral movement, constant feints, and subtle changes in rhythm. He made Tank hesitate, forcing him to think rather than react. Davis thrives when opponents stand still or move in straight lines, but Roach refused to give him that luxury. Every step was calculated, every angle intentional, and in those small movements, he was already taking away Tank's biggest weapon, his ability to trap and detonate with that left hand. What stood out most was Roach's jab. It wasn't a heavy, punishing jab meant to knock Tank back, it was a measuring stick, a disruptor, a way to keep Davis from getting comfortable. Every time Tank tried to inch forward, Roach's jab was there to check him. And it wasn't always to the head, Roach smartly mixed in jabs to the body, forcing Tank to reset and rethink his approach. The jab is boxing's oldest tool, but in Roach's hands it became a shield, a sword, and the key to dictating the tempo. Another brilliant aspect of Roach's performance was his defense. He didn't simply run or rely on his legs. Instead, he used subtle slips, shoulder rolls, and pivots to make Tank miss by inches. That kind of defensive discipline doesn't just save energy, it frustrates punchers. Tank is used to opponents panicking after feeling his power, but Roach's composure sent a different message: you can't hit what you can't catch. The more Tank swung and missed, the more he grew impatient, and that impatience played right into Roach's hands. Perhaps the most overlooked weapon Roach used was his timing. Speed can be matched, power can be endured, but timing can dismantle even the most explosive fighter. Roach picked moments to throw sharp counters, especially the right hand over Tank's low left. Whenever Tank lunged in, Roach made him pay. He didn't need to hurt him with one shot, he needed to remind him that reckless entries would be punished. That forced Tank into periods of hesitation, where he was less aggressive than usual. For a fighter whose aura is built on pressure and knockouts, that hesitation was critical. As the rounds went on, it became clear that Roach's IQ was dictating the narrative. He wasn't outmuscling Tank, he was outthinking him. While Davis looked for that one opening to land his trademark bomb, Roach was racking up points with consistency, touching him, moving, and making him chase shadows. The crowd could sense the frustration growing in Tank's body language. His punches came wider, his patience wore thin, and Roach capitalized on every mistake. It's important to understand what this fight revealed about Tank. His power is undeniable, but Roach showed that against a disciplined, smart, and skilled opponent, he can be limited. Davis thrives on chaos, on breaking rhythm, on forcing opponents into firefights. Roach refused to give him that, staying calm under pressure and refusing to be baited. It was a masterclass in sticking to a game plan, proof that boxing is called or the sweet science are for a reason. By the final bell, Roach hadn't just survived, he had exposed holes in Tank's approach. The fight wasn't just about skill, it was about IQ, patience, and the ability to execute under the brightest lights. Where others saw Tank as unstoppable, Roach saw opportunities, the high guard that leaves gaps for body shots, the tendency to load up on one big punch instead of building combinations, the reliance on intimidation to break opponents before the fight truly starts. Roach neutralized all of that with composure, fundamentals, and a brain that worked 2 steps ahead. In the aftermath, fans and analysts began asking questions they hadn't asked before. Could Tank be beaten by a disciplined technician? Was his aura of invincibility cracked, not by brute force, but by intelligence? Roach may not have been the flashiest opponent Tank has faced, but in many ways, he was the most revealing. His performance reminded the boxing world that skill and IQ can level the playing field against even the most dangerous knockout artists. That's how Roach's skills and ring intelligence exploited Tank Davis. It wasn't about power meeting power, it was about a chess match, about brains over brawn. And for once, Tank wasn't dictating the moves.